Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Hello, everybody. It shouldn't be muted. I switched browsers again to see if I could help with the Creed frames. And do you have sound now? You couldn't hear the intro? Seriously? You can hear me though, obviously, because you're answering me. That doesn't make any sense. Can you hear this? Did you see it and not hear it, or did you hear that the normal sound? Oh, you heard that. Interesting. Always down and ready to ride. Did you hear that part of it? Of the intro? Thank you, MB. I appreciate that. Now you're seeing and hearing everything. You can hear it all now. Okay, great. Well, we did, seems a bit lackluster now to do the intro. But I do need to find my lighter, so here we go. Always down and ready to ride. I want you guys to hear it too, because it is much better with the sound. I didn't find my lighter. I found a pen, though. That should do for a little while. I'm so glad that you guys are here. It is Saturday, and I have been doing work and researching, if you can believe that. I can barely believe it myself. But I have been, and I found something from the archives for us to enjoy. And I think I've got most of it in its entirety. So let's buckle up, go back in time a little bit, and enjoy a custody case that so far I think we'll have 2 parts, but we'll see how far we get tonight. I would love it if you would tell me what you had for dinner tonight. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. As usual, I haven't actually watched this yet. I just did my homework by like seeing this people and getting, anyways. So I don't know what's disclaimer. I don't know exactly what we're going to watch, but oh, salad sounds yummy. Happy anniversary to Chuck and Amy. Love it. Bacon. I had bacon yesterday. let's get going because this is quite a long case.
Okay, Shannon, I think you can put us on the record now.
Okay.
All right, this is the matter of Smith versus, looks like Murphy at this point. We're here for an evidentiary hearing on request for change of custody, parenting time, and domicile. And let's see. Looks like this is the plaintiff's motion. Is that correct?
It is, Your Honor.
Yes, plaintiff's motion and represented by Mr. Navarre. So anything, excuse me, anything preliminary?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. I believe that Attorney Weed would only be having his client testify, so I don't think there would be a need for any sequestration of witnesses.
Well, as a practical matter, sequestration is just about impossible these days since I'm required to live stream.
Okay.
I don't have any control over what people watch the live stream.
And Phil, how many witnesses are you calling today? I did not communicate.
I'm just going to be calling my client and his wife.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
shit. So this is literally 2021. So it is far back. Hi, Courtney. And like you just heard there, we're going to hear from ex-wife, him, and new wife. Oh, that's going to go well. Not. Yeah. Well, they were all sort of. But yes, let's enjoy, shall we? I have a drink that I just grabbed from the fridge, so it's still cold. I want to drink it now. I want to drink it now, Daddy.
Well,
Is his
Mr.
wife-
Smith?
Can I ask a question preliminary wise? Your Honor, is Justin Smith, is his wife, where is her present location?
She is in another room.
Okay, same house though?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Smith, would you raise your right hand, please?
I'm so out of it. What state is this? Does anybody know where La Flamme is? My question is, do they not just invoke the rule? And that should sort of protect them from doing it, even if it's like theoretical. Also, this is the time when you at home also raise your right hand and take the oath right along with us.
You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can put your hand down, just state your full name for the record.
Justin Thomas Smith.
Go ahead, Mr. Navarre.
Your Honor, I'd call Elise Murphy as my first witness, Your Honor, if she could be sworn.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just assumed that you would call Mr. Smith. My apologies.
I did not receive, my client didn't receive the subpoena, so you're calling my client as your witness first?
I'm going to call her as adverse witness, and I'm calling her first.
That seems a little bit odd. I mean, I'm going to be calling her as a witness.
Okay, already. Great. This is quality content. Is that odd? It is a bit odd, especially since they've just said that they are going to call her as a witness to begin with. He wants to call her as an adverse witness. Ooh, getting exciting. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yes, Your Honor.
He has every right to call her as a witness, counsel. Ma'am, would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
State your full name, please.
Elise Murphy.
All right. Can we get her to sit a little bit closer to the microphone? I want to make sure we're picking her up well.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Navarre.
Thank you, Your Honor. Elise, where do you reside?
In Lansing,
What's your address?
103 Lahoma.
And how long have you resided there?
About a year.
And describe your residence, if you would, please.
Yep, we have 3 bedrooms with a 4th bedroom. It's an attic, and a bathroom, and a living room, and a dining room, and a kitchen.
Okay, and what did you say about the 4th bedroom?
We have a 4th possible bedroom. It's an attic.
Okay. So you have a 3-bedroom residence?
Yes, it was previously a 2-bedroom, but our landlord over the past year has added a fire escape and a closet and a door to the now 3rd bedroom.
And is that a duplex? Is it a single-family residence?
It's a single family home.
And how many people reside in the home with you?
Full time, just my 3 children and my husband and I.
And other than Lila, what are the other 2 children's names and ages?
Elowen Murphy, she's almost 5, and then Jude Murphy, who is 3.
And then
Did she just say Jew Murphy? I'm hoping she said June. Don't go screaming. I mean, what in the fuck? Yeah.
and what other children reside there on a part-time basis?
My stepkids are with us every other week or every 2 weeks. They are 15. His name is Christopher Murphy. 13. His name is Aiden Murphy. And then my son is there every other weekend. His name is Liam Baker.
And your stepkids, the Murphy children, they're your husband's children, correct?
Correct.
And what grades are they in school?
My oldest stepson's in 8th grade. My youngest stepson is in 6th grade. And my stepdaughter, Tegan Murphy, she's also in 3rd grade.
And your daughter Lila's also in 3rd grade, correct?
Correct.
And where do the kids go to school?
We do homeschooling.
Okay. And when you say we, are you working during the day?
I am not.
And so what hours are you working?
Typically I work every other weekend when Lila is supposed to be with Justin. I work 16-hour shifts on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then during the week on the opposite weeks, I typically try to work a 16-hour shift on Friday and then 2 overnight shifts or 2 second shifts during the week. So I'm there doing their schooling with them.
And so you and your husband are homeschooling the kids?
Correct.
And what training, education, and background do you have, if any, to be able to homeschool children?
Well, in Michigan, you don't have to have any training or educational background to homeschool. But my husband is.
That's not a very. That wasn't the question. This is already going to be contentious. So she is the mom and he's the dad's lawyer. A very interesting start to the proceedings here.
And ABA Tech, he's worked with autistic kids for pretty much his entire career. And then he's also a youth pastor. And then I am college educated as well.
So do you have any specific training, certification to homeschool the kids?
No, but that's not needed in Michigan.
And does your husband have any specific training or certification to homeschool?
No, again, that's not necessary in Michigan.
And so all of the kids are being homeschooled when they're with you or when they're with your husband, correct?
Correct. And then my stepkids are homeschooled when they're at their mom's house as well.
And so how long have they been homeschooled?
Since about mid-April of 2020.
And is that when Lila left being schooled in person?
Correct. Well, the school was canceled the week before spring break, and they were supposed to return back to school the week following spring break, and then the governor unfortunately suspended all in-school interactions.
So you had an opportunity to sign a verified answer to the motion that was filed by Mr. Smith to change custody, parenting time, and domicile. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And so were all of the answers in your response to the motion true?
Yes.
Is there anything that you stated in your answer that you would change or correct or amend?
Not that I can think of, no.
So we made an allegation that you posted on social media that your husband, Chris, drug you down the road on the car, and I'm pretty beat up. And you admitted that you posted that. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What? Oh, I honestly sometimes I picked this one again. This is another one I was thinking we could consolidate into a lesson very quickly. Don't wear orange to your court case. You look like a prisoner. I literally was like, is this a prisoner case? That's why I clicked on it to begin with. This is going to be contentious. Oh, God.
And you also admitted that you posted on social media, I am in so much pain, I think my foot is broken. Is that also true?
Yes, that is true.
Also posted on social media a photograph of you on crutches with your right foot and lower leg in an air cast and brace. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
And you went to the hospital as a result of those injuries, correct?
I went and had an x-ray done on my ankle the following day.
So was that an urgent care facility, or did you go to your primary care physician?
It was an urgent care facility. My primary physician's out of Marshall.
And so where was that you went for the urgent care?
Jackson, Allegiance Health in Jackson.
And what facility was it that you went to?
It was the hospital, the emergency room. The urgent care had already been closed.
So you went to Henry Ford Allegiance Health in Jackson?
Correct.
And so they provided some medical services to you, and then you were not.
It was Creed framing there for a second. I'm going to dip off and see.
If I was feeling pain, then I should use it, but then nothing was broken. It was just bruised.
And that was a result of injuries that you sustained in the incident that occurred the day before, correct?
Correct.
So where was it that you were on the car or on the vehicle when you sustained the injuries to your leg and foot?
I was trying to open the back door of the car.
And how far were you drugged down the road as you had posted on social media?
Maybe 10 to 15 feet, if that. I would have to measure to be sure.
Were you and your husband involved in some kind of a dispute or argument at that time?
Yes, we were.
And what was the argument about?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. That argument was heavily influenced by alcohol. And we had gone to a hot tub. I was not aware that alcohol and hot tubs don't mix because I don't typically drink or use hot tubs. It was our wedding anniversary. And so I ended up very sick. I honestly, most of that night is a blur.
How much alcohol did you consume, if you can recall?
Maybe 3 glasses of wine.
What about your husband?
I don't, he hadn't drank anything at all. I mean, maybe a sip of wine, but he doesn't drink.
Where did this incident occur where you were drugged down the road? What was it, at your house? Was it somewhere else? Where was it?
Yes, it was at my house.
And what is the street that your house is located on?
It's on the corner of Lahoma and Michigan.
Okay, so were you on Michigan Ave?
Yes,
when
we're
you
on
were-
Michigan Ave.
And in Michigan Ave, is it 2-lane road, a 4-lane road? Describe it to the judge, please.
It's just a 2-lane road. It's like a side street. The area that we live on, it's not a busy street. It's just a 2-lane, like inner city street.
Do you recall if there was any other traffic on the road when this injury occurred to you?
Again, the details are fuzzy, but I would say no, not that I can think of. I would assume somebody would have stopped if so.
This is terrible testimony for her case. I can see why this guy did it.
So in your answer, you denied that this domestic violence occurred between you and your husband. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so how is it that you,
Hi, Chris. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. This is with her new husband, I think, MB. This case is crazy already. Terrible testimony for her. Terrible. Thank God Chris came and saved the day.
don't characterize your injuries with him driving the car.
Haven't asked the question yet, so I think you need to wait. Finish your question, Mr. Navarre.
Thank you, Your Honor. How is it that you don't characterize this incident as domestic violence, where you were drugged down the road in the vehicle that your husband was driving, as you previously described?
Yeah,
Objection.
Objection. Was her husband super drunk too? And are you implicating him for drinking and driving right now? Can she plead the fifth? No, she can't. This is not a criminal case. This is well, you can plead the fifth in civil cases as well. I don't know if you're allowed to plead the fifth for spousal privilege. Interesting. Interesting. Right out of the gate, though, this is good already. I like it. Good pick, Paisley. Good job.
Argumentative.
I think it's a fair question. You can answer, ma'am.
okay. I understand how it appears that way, and in the thick of the moment, it felt that way to me as well. I mean, I was intoxicated, but my husband didn't even know that I was on the car. After this happened, we kind of took a week to separate and kind of figure out what was next, because this is not something that has happened in 7 years of marriage. And so, according to his recount, and I mean, he was the sober one in the situation, he didn't even realize that I was on the car until after he had come home and I had decided to leave and go to the hotel for the night. And so I don't think that he was intentionally being violent towards me. This isn't like a pattern that we have where he beats me or drags me down the road in a car.
That would be a terrible pattern to establish. Even if that was a kink, that would be a very dangerous kink to entertain. I like to be dragged down the road by how many times that you accidentally dragged your wife down the road by the car, or vice versa. Opportunity around here. Hope you're doing well. I'm gonna guess the answer is probably no, but you know what? I shouldn't assume.
It was a moment of intoxication and stupidness. I mean, a mixture of alcohol, a hot tub. It was our wedding anniversary. There was just a lot of different factors where I don't think for a second my husband would ever beat me or hurt my children. So it's hard for me to characterize it as domestic violence when I grew up in a home of domestic violence. I know what it looks like, and I don't think that's what that is. I don't think that's not how I see it now as a sober, functioning adult.
And it's your testimony that your husband hadn't consumed any alcohol whatsoever that evening?
Not that I knew of. When we went to the store earlier in the day.
Objection, Your Honor. That's not what she stated.
Hold on a minute.
She did. I'm just saying objection because, I mean, she stated that he had a sip of wine.
I do recall that he did say that he may have had a sip of wine.
When did they say this?
Would you answer the question, please, ma'am?
Yeah, as far as I know, all he had was a little bit of my wine, possibly. He's an adult, so I don't typically monitor what he drinks or doesn't drink or eats or doesn't eat.
So would it be your testimony that he was sober?
Yes.
And is it your testimony that he was not under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
Not that I know of. I mean, if he had wine in the house, I have no idea. But as far as I know personally, no.
Does your husband use any recreational drugs?
Not at all.
And so it's your testimony that you don't know how it is that he may or may not have known that you were attempting to get in the vehicle as he was driving down the road.
I wasn't. I mean, yeah, I was on the back of the car.
Objection, Your Honor. She can't state what's in his mind.
Well, she's already testified to what she thought was in his mind, so I'm going to allow the question.
Yeah, I mean, I as far as I know, as far as we've discussed, no, I don't think that he knew. And by the time that I had gotten off the car, I had stood up and was walking back to the house. And so for him, I mean, it could have looked like I was just running behind the car. He has told me that he did not know that I was hanging on to the back of the car.
And so do you recall what the argument was about?
I do not. Again, I was heavily under the influence of alcohol.
You admitted in your answer that you've had numerous moves and changes in your housing, which has caused Lila to attend numerous schools. Is that true?
That's true.
She did Young Fives at Parma Elementary in the academic school year of 2016 and 2017.
Correct.
And that was in Spring Arbor, Michigan. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And in 2017, 2018, she attended kindergarten at Northwest Elementary and at Gordon Elementary in Jackson, Michigan at Northwest, and in Marshall, Michigan at Gordon Elementary. Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
And then in 2018, 2019, in first grade, she attended Gordon Elementary as in Marshall, Michigan, as well as Steele Elementary in Mason, Michigan. Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
And she concluded her in-person second grade academic year of 2019-2020 in April in Mason, Michigan at Steele Elementary. Is that true?
Well, school let out in March, so it was in March.
And since March of 2020, it's your testimony that you and your husband have been homeschooling Lila, correct?
Correct. They had sent home packets for them to do from the school, which they completed. And then we had attempted to do online schooling, which didn't work with 5 kids. And so after discussing with the other parents and doing research, we decided to do online or do homeschooling.
So what is the online program that she currently is participating in?
She's not. We're doing traditional, Christian-based traditional homeschooling system.
And what's the name of the program that you're utilizing for that homeschooling?
Yeah, so we use 2 different programs. We use one called Gather Round. It's faith-based, and it's got science, social studies, history, language arts, reading. And then we also use another program called Easy Peasy. And it's also a Christian-based program that's got math, social studies, history, science, biology, language arts, and reading as well.
And in your answer to our motion, you had indicated and admitted that she had numerous attendance absences when she was going to school in person. Is that true?
Yep, that's true.
One thing it should. I'm being silenced by streaming. Yeah. Listen. School after I went to Montessori school, I am that close to have been homeschooled, but I wasn't. But like, for example, I never called a teacher with their last name until I was in the 8th grade or here. And in grade 8, I walked into the class written, so I called the teacher the first name, and I got in a lot of trouble for that. They sort of took it as like a respect problem, but it was just habit.
Do you are you participating in any particular faith-based church, or you attend church with Lila?
Yeah, our church actually just opened back up. Prior to that, we were doing online services.
And what's the name of that church that you attend?
City Life, Lansing.
And how long have you been participating with that church?
About a year and a half to 2 years. So when we moved to Mason, we started going there.
And is that a denominational or non-denominational church?
It's just a Christian evangelical church.
So non-denominational?
Yeah.
Isn't Christian the denomination? Why am I confused about that? And honestly, I don't think that all homeschool kids are. What I'm saying is that the homeschool kids that I knew, their parents were extra. They were really usually quite smart, very hippies, but lots of hippies around here anyways. So that's nothing really new. It was just that they most often wanted to like get the kids ahead, you know. I don't know. I personally liked being able to take my kid to school. It's a personal thing.
And how often do you attend services there in person?
Well, in person, they just started in-person services on Easter. So we attended Easter, and then COVID spiked again, and we just didn't feel like it was in the best interest of our family to continue to attend in person until COVID kind of comes down a little bit. So we just do the online services every Sunday morning.
Is that something that Lila participates in?
Absolutely.
Is that something that she enjoys?
Absolutely.
Have you discussed any faith-based education with Mr. Smith regarding Lila?
Yes, I notified him when we began the traditional homeschooling, and he didn't really say anything either way.
So is it your intent to raise your daughter Lila, with sound Judeo-Christian values?
I intend to raise her to embrace whatever religion she chooses. I mean, obviously, my family's Christian. My husband was a youth pastor. So we're Christian. We hope that she would continue to be Christian as well. But I support whatever decision she makes.
She doing well in school?
Yeah, she's actually doing 4th grade math. She's reading at a 6th to 7th grade level. She's doing 5th grade biology. She's very far advanced. She's always been advanced, even when she's going to traditional school.
I have no further questions of the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Weed, do you wish to ask your client questions at this time or reserve those for later?
I can ask them at this time. And then we'll go from there. Actually,
Yeah.
Okay. I'll ask her questions now.
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Can you just generally describe your physical health?
I'm fairly healthy. I have hyperthyroidism, but that's the only health issue that I have.
Do you have any life-threatening diseases?
I do not.
Do you presently have any physical restrictions that would limit you to how many days you're able to spend with your children?
No, I do not.
And can you describe your mental health?
COVID has caused a bit of anxiety, but other than that, I'm in a pretty good place. I have been for a while.
Have you sought any kind of help with that?
Yeah, so my work offered counseling for those of us that were frontline workers with the pandemic. And then on top of that, I also started seeing a counselor at church, and then also through like an online licensed counselor as well.
And do you take any medications for your mental health?
I do not.
Can you describe your education history?
Yeah, so I went to high school in Jackson. I graduated from high school in Jackson. And then I just applied for the nursing program at LCC. So I've done about 5 semesters of college so far.
Do you have any certificates or licenses?
Yeah, I'm a certified nursing assistant, so that's a certificate.
So are you currently employed?
I am. I work at Bircham Hills in East Lansing.
For how long?
Since October of 2019.
In what capacity?
I work full time. I currently just, once the COVID unit ended, kind of switched my schedule. So now I just pick up the hours that I'd like to, the days that I'd like to.
And what is your position or title?
Certified nursing assistant.
And briefly, what is your job description?
I assist the elderly or people that are in rehab with like toileting, hygiene, therapy, stuff like that.
And how many hours per week do you work?
Really, it's open. I typically.
Yes, please, Jesus, send us all a pizza. Hi, Mayor. Nice to see you. 7 months. Yay. Thank you so much, Mayor. I love you. Appreciate you. Also, Jesus, I would really like a thin crust pizza, sort of burnt around the edges a little bit. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Work anywhere from 40 to 48 hours a week, just depending on the week. So typically on the weekends that Lila's supposed to be with Justin, I would work 3 16-hour shifts. That's 48. And then on the weeks that she's with me.
A great 7 months. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you for all your comments. You are so sweet. I can almost always count on you to comment, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 7 months. I can't believe that. and Streamlabs, is Streamlabs promising shit he can't deliver on? Yeah, that's normal.
I'll work around anywhere from 36 to 40.
And how has the pandemic affected your work hours?
A lot. Back in March, our COVID unit opened when the governor had said that people that were positive would have to come to the nursing homes. And so our COVID unit opened in March of 2020, and I got pulled to work there. And I worked there from March to I want to say June. And then we were fortunately able to close down for a little while, and then it opened back up from September until the end of November, beginning of December.
So it's still open?
It is not.
And how have you dealt with COVID-19 pandemic at work? So you have dealt with COVID-19 at work?
Yes.
How has that work affected you at home?
It's been difficult watching people die and get sick, and then being afraid to bring it home to my kids and to my family was mentally draining and physically exhausting.
Hey, Mark, welcome. You spell your name with a C. That tells me something about you. I don't know exactly what yet, but we'll figure it out. We're pretty nice. She can't have it both ways, though. She can't be totally mentally perfect, but also cry about this. Can she? I guess she, I don't know. Maybe she can, maybe she can't. Reminder, disclaimer, caveat. These are old cases. This is an old case. So some of this stuff seems in the past, and it is. This case is over 3 years old. So
how did it change? Did it change the way you greeted your children when you got home?
Yeah, typically my kids are waiting for me at the door when I get home. But with working the COVID unit, I'd have to come home, go straight to the bathroom, wash my clothes, wash my shoes, get in the shower. And then even after that, the fear of giving it to them or having it really made it hard to spend one-on-one time with them. So we'd wear masks in the house and try to social distance the best we could.
Are you able to provide food, clothing, medical care, and other items to provide your children's care and custody?
Yes, I am.
Are you able to afford your own attorney's fees?
Yes, I am.
You had spoke already about the problems of obtaining a home. How long have you lived in your home now?
About a year.
Can you tell me about that ownership?
Yeah, so we entered into a land contract, which was part of the reason why I was working a lot on the COVID unit, was to make money to pay for a down payment and to work on my credit. And so we're in a land contract now, and my landlord is open to us either buying it with a mortgage once my credit's up high enough, or just renting to own.
So is this your a home you feel like you want?
StreamYard, stop it. We have new people here. Can you just stop it? Anyways, I've talked about renting to own. Well, I would almost call it a lease to own for people as a good way to get really good tenants, because I had a boss once and he had a house and he would always do this rent to own thing. So you'd take $5,000 as a down payment, and then the deal was they would pay the rent on time, and if at the end of whatever period they had never missed any, then that's how it worked. But as soon as they missed a payment or whatever, they forfeited the $5,000, and then they lost the deal or whatever, and then he would just find another one. But most of them would stay for quite a while and treat the place like it was their own, like they were going to own it. And so you tend to get really good clients or really good renters. Hey, Mark, look at you making good decisions. We won you over already. I love it. Ooh, members only is tomorrow. Following. What's it called? following Sunday Court Watchers Anonymous meeting.
So how many times have you been married?
3 times.
And you've already kind of stated.
She's been married 3 times. I wonder if her exes have been married again. I was just thinking about that today. My ex-husband got married recently, which means that I wasn't that bad. I didn't scar him for life and fuck it up for the next lady.
Your different children and their names and ages, but can you describe your emotional bond you have with your children?
My kids and I are very close. I'm close to all of them, even my stepchildren. My 4, I'd like to say, are my mini-me's. They're pretty much have my personality and my ex's looks. So we spend lots of time together, cuddling, snuggling, watching movies. Prior to the COVID pandemic, going to the park, going to Horrocks here in Lansing. It's like a farmer's market. My kids love it. Just spending a lot of quality time together.
So would you say that Lila specifically, is she pretty bonded with the other children?
Yeah, absolutely. Lila is my 3-year-old best friend in the whole world. Out of all of my kids, they're probably the closest. They're joined at the hip.
And what's your emotional bond like with Lila?
Lila, again, she's my mini-me. We have a lot of things in common. We're both into makeup and photography, and she does a Christian contemporary dance class. I did cheerleading and gymnastics in school. We have a lot of the same like emotional attachments. Like we're both very words of affirmation oriented. So there's lots of I love yous and hugs and cuddles. She's usually attached to my hip as well.
Do your children have friends around the area of your current home?
They do. We've got neighbors that have children that they play with. One of our neighbors up the road usually stops by and sees if the kids want to take a walk. They've got greyhounds, and the kids like to hang out with their greyhounds. So sometimes they'll go for walks with them. And then she's also got friends at her dance class as well.
Has the pandemic affected this?
Yeah, I mean, we don't typically allow them to go into people's houses. We've kind of recently allowed them to start playing outside with kids as long as they're wearing masks. But it's been hard for them to get to do anything with COVID.
So your current housing situation, do you have any pets?
Yeah, I have 1 dog and 2 cats.
Okay.
Our cat actually just had kittens, but they're all
1 dog, 2 cats, kittens, 5 kids. Oh, nightmare.
being rehomed.
So can you describe Lila's her bedroom?
Yeah, so the boys and the girls each have a bedroom with a triple bunk in it. And so we actually offered Lila to have either our bedroom or the attic bedroom for herself because she's about to start her period. And that's a very...
What? Why did you say that? Why did you say it like that? Whoa. Ugh. Ugh. What the fuck? That threw me off, ma'am. What if she doesn't start it till she's 16 and you're just sitting there waiting like, well, what the fuck? Bleed, girl. Like, oh my God. Everybody starts at their own time. You don't need to be calling in the period card that hasn't even been dealt yet.
Rough transition for a girl. So we told her we understood if she wanted space and wanted to have her own area, but she's so attached to her sisters that she wants to stay in the room with them.
So I'm gonna ask you kind of a personal question, but
before you do, I have to say a very personal thank you. You just saw my face go, the thank you button won't even... Coming again and again. Mark, thank you so much. You're amazing. 20 more people turned on. These people, I know. Did your parents get now thrown off? Of course, I froze. I'm so mad at you too. You're embarrassing me. Thanks again. No, you didn't break it. That we'll call it a remote part of Canada. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Did those get gifted out though? Sometimes they don't. That's terrible.
Did you start going through those changes yourself?
I was 8, which is very early.
So, do you think it's important for?
Hold on, did she just back? I'm pretty sure because I was doing the math. The kid's in 3rd grade, and she's a special period room for her. Said, but you know what I mean. Yes, I'm from Canada, so forgive me when I say pasta. That's how I say it. It's the natural way. Again, while a lot of that is genetic, she needs to project onto her child. Also, isn't that sort of ostracizing to have one child in your like space and then 5 others sharing? That's 30 seconds. So difficult for me to do this. Here we go.
Have a bedroom with a triple bunk in it. And so we actually offered Lila to have either our bedroom or the attic bedroom for herself because she's about to start her period. And that's a very rough transition for a girl. So we told her we understood if she wanted space and wanted to have her own area, but she's so attached to her sisters that she wants to stay in the room with them.
So I'm gonna ask you kind of a personal question, but when did you start going through those changes yourself?
I was 8, which is very early.
So do you think it's important for a mother to be involved in that transition?
Absolutely. I mean, my mom wasn't involved. I didn't tell her until I was like 14, and I've made very clear to Lila that I want to be open with her so she can come to me when she starts experiencing those things, so she doesn't have to go through it by herself.
So can you describe how you've parented Lila since the divorce?
So Lila, I think, has some emotional like attachment issues because her dad hasn't been super consistent in seeing her. And so we try to practice attachment parenting.
You see how she just slipped in that it was all dad's fault there? Ma'am, that's not going to help you. That is not going to look good. And also, how uncomfortable do you think Judge LaFlamme is listening about 8-year-olds getting their period? Oh my God.
So far as like, we want our kids to come to us and be able to talk to us when they have things wrong. We want to make sure that we have a strong emotional bond with them. But we also want to give them options. Like, we don't want to dictate their entire lives. Like, we don't want to micromanage everything they do. So we try to give them, 2 good options to choose from and let them make that choice.
You hinted at about Justin, the father's parenting time. Can you explain how Justin has exercised his parenting time before filing this motion?
It was very inconsistent, maybe once a month. We traveled to Ohio every other week to take my stepkids to their mom's house. And so we're down there every other week. Typically, Justin will just text me when he wants Lila or if he wants her. And so I don't ever say no. So basically, I mean, sometimes it's twice a month, sometimes it's once a month, sometimes he'll miss a month. It just depends.
Since filing this motion, how has he been exercising his parenting time?
So initially, he was very consistent, which was really good for Lila. I mean, she was loving being able to see her dad every other weekend. But he hasn't seen her in almost a month now. It'll be a month on Friday.
And how did he go about notifying you whether he was going to exercise his parenting time?
typically he'll just text me and say, hey, can I have Lila this day and this day? And I'll say, can we do it this day? Because Liam's going to be here, or yeah, that's fine, or where do you want to meet, or whatever.
Does he usually initiate that?
Yes.
And how does he go about notifying you when he isn't going to exercise parenting time?
Prior to filing this, well, he didn't notify me this past time, 2 weeks ago. But prior to this, he typically wouldn't say anything. He only really texted when he wanted to pick her up.
And does he have the ability to communicate with Lila?
Yes, Lila has a phone that has a messaging app on it, so he can talk to her.
And what do you, when he doesn't show up to pick her up, what have you observed? Have you observed any kind of effect on Lila?
So she seems upset. She's typically crying or has lots of questions that I can't answer, or that I honestly don't want to answer because it hurts my heart to see her hurting. Usually she's not eating as much. She's just in general pretty sullen when he doesn't hit her.
And how is the current? So wait, let me. Do you want Lila to be able to spend time with her father?
In an ideal world where us living across the state, different states, and him having a more open work schedule, I would love for her to be there half the time. I mean, that's what we practice with my stepkids, and I feel like they're very well rounded because they get equal time with both parents. So I mean, in an ideal world, I think that everybody needs their dad, but I think little girls really need a father figure in their lives. And yeah, I've got my husband, and my husband does his best to be there for Lila, but it doesn't make up for her dad.
And so does that have anything to do with the consistency you mentioned before?
Yeah, I just wish he was more consistent. Even if he isn't going to have her half the time, I just wish for the sake of Lila that he would be able to see her every other weekend consistently for more than a month at a time.
So so COVID-19 pandemic, this affected her schooling, correct?
Yes.
And you had talked about the curriculum. Can you mention what academic curriculum she's using?
Yeah, so like I said, we're using Gather Round and Easy Peasy. They're both Christian faith-based curriculums. My husband and I spent a good chunk of April, after realizing the online school wasn't going to work out, looking at like the Michigan Merit curriculum, like the Michigan Standard curriculum, to see what homeschool programs would match up with or exceed what Michigan expects from public schools. And so we found those two, and they have been a really good fit for all of the kids.
And what led up to this decision to homeschool?
COVID, and being able to, Lila's very mature. She's very advanced. I mean, most of our kids are. I won't say all of them because 15-year-old boys are a little iffy, but most of our kids are very advanced. And so finding a curriculum where Lila could exceed and grow and not be, stuck doing something that she's already mastered, or even our other children being stuck doing something they've already mastered, was important to us. So homeschooling, and then being able to facilitate the kids spending time with their other parents and their grandparents, was also important to us with homeschooling.
And you had mentioned that the school shut down. Can you explain that again?
Yeah, so in March, right before spring break, the school...
Ma'am, the entire fucking world knows. Okay, we were all there. These are all dress chips. Very Canadian. All dress chips, Mark. We all know what happened in March of 2020. I remember. Now I'm dropping shit.
Said that they would resume school after spring break. They were going to take 2 weeks off instead of 1 week. And then during spring break, Governor Whitmer said that the schools weren't going to resume in-person learning at all this year, and that the individual schools would make plans and notify the parents of what their plans were.
So did you discuss...
Oh, Mark meant those chips. not my chip that I'm eating. Now I feel like an idiot.
The decision to homeschool Lila with her father, Justin Smith.
Yeah, so we had texted initially regarding online school, which she was okay with, and then after that not working out, me and Justin don't typically communicate great via text. So I talked to him on the phone about a homeschool curriculum, and he just really didn't care either way, whatever is best for Lila.
Mr. Weed, if you're about to move into a different subject, I'd like to take a break. I've got some attorneys in a waiting room on a status conference. So what I'm going to do is put all of you back in the waiting room. I'm going to stop the live stream and go off the record so I can conduct that status conference. And then as soon as we're done, we'll bring you back in.
Judge, would it be okay for us to go into a breakout room, myself and my client?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Let me
Thank
do
you.
that. Takes me a second to set that up.
By the magic of Paisley, guess what we got?
Get on either. I know it's here.
We're back at
Yeah,
it.
at this point, that makes sense. Okay, Shannon, if you could put us back on.
Oops. Oh. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Weed, you may continue.
Yes, Your Honor. Have you ever denied the father here, Justin, parenting time with Lila?
No, I mean, there have been weekends where we might have, typically he waits till the last minute to notify us that he wants to exercise parenting time with her. So we may have made plans like for a family outing. So I may ask him if there's a way to like rearrange it so we can still see her, but we can have her for that. But I've never denied him time with her.
So, Lila, does she ever travel out of the state?
Yeah, her dad lives in Ohio, so she goes to Ohio to see him, and then she also goes to Georgia to see her grandmother.
Is this so she goes where to visit her grandmother?
Georgia.
Has any of this travel ever taken her out of school?
Yeah, there's been instances. Most of the instances are if Justin can't meet after school to get her, he would ask to either get her Thursday night or Friday during school. And since the time that he is with her is so like small, typically we would oblige if we could. And then as far as going to Georgia, usually she'll miss a day or two of school because the drive is so long. So his mom will come up and pick her up and then drive her back down.
So just to clarify, she does miss some school because of travel to Ohio?
Yes.
And also travel to Georgia?
Correct.
Is there any other reasons why she's missed school?
She's very prone to strep throat. When she was in public school, she was getting strep throat at least once or twice a month. I mean, very consistently, and she became resistant to antibiotics because of it. It was really hard to get her in because we weren't able to get the insurance card from Justin because based on our last custody agreement, he is required to carry her on his insurance. So I can't get Medicaid for her or my insurance. It's just been a mess. And so she would miss school a lot for strep throat, random fevers. And they wanted to do a tonsillectomy, but again, I didn't get his insurance card until like January, I think, of this year, of 2021.
And has this pandemic, has it affected your ability to schedule a tonsillectomy as well?
It's affected scheduling any doctor's appointments. They weren't doing any surgeries that weren't emergency surgeries last year. And then now that I've got her insurance card, trying to find a doctor who will take the out-of-state insurance has just been kind of a mess.
Now, does Justin ever come to Michigan to pick up Lila?
When he lived in Michigan, obviously he would come here, and then rarely. He doesn't, not often.
When he showed up to pick her up, who was driving?
Sometimes he drives, typically his girlfriends or so Jennifer, Sabra, Danny drives sometimes. Right now, typically it's his father-in-law that comes, Danny's dad.
Would you say that most of the time is Justin driving?
No, not most of the time. So.
who, do you have any concerns with any, did you at the time have any concerns with his girlfriends?
Yes. The girl that he was with shortly after we split up, Jennifer, she was a stripper, which, I mean, I would.
Did she just say Jennifer was a stripper? Is that what she just said? Jesus Christ. My mind wanders for 10 seconds. Say stripper brings me right back.
Jennifer, Sabra, Danny drives sometimes. Right now, typically it's his father-in-law that comes, Danny's dad.
Would you say that most of the time is Justin driving?
No, not most of the time. So.
Who, do you have any concerns with any, did you at the time have any concerns with his girlfriends?
Yes. The girl that he was with shortly after we split up, Jennifer, she was a stripper, which, I mean, whatever makes you happy, but she wasn't shy about flaunting it, which made me
Your Honor, I'm going to object. You know, this, she's testifying to something that occurred more than 8 years, almost 8 years ago. And I don't think it has any bearing on anything before the court at this time. I certainly would object to anything that had occurred prior to the entry of the judgment of divorce.
Yeah, jealous much. Also, 8 years ago, do you know how fucking remote that is? Ma'am, you're drunk. Your drunk ass got dragged behind a car recently. And I was going to say, I don't know if that's relevant, but here we go. And no stripper shaming. We fucking don't shame any strippers around here. That's hard ass work. I would challenge anybody who shames a stripper, who would do whatever makes you happy. Sweetheart, if you can't do it, you don't shame other people that do.
Which is June of 2014.
Respond. Mr. Weed.
So frustrating. So frustrating. I paused it for you guys, though. We didn't miss anything. So frustrating. YouTube daddy, internet moose, all of the problems.
To show that it was after the entry of the judgment, because anything
that's the response. I mean, if this is after, I mean, Mr. Navarro is correct.
It is after the entry of the divorce judgment.
We'll establish that.
When Jennifer or any of these girlfriends would pick up your child to exercise parenting time, did this occur after the judgment of divorce was entered?
Yes.
And so what concerns did you have with the girlfriends?
Like I said, Jennifer was just very flamboyant about her profession, which made me uncomfortable as far as what she was like around my children. She, in general, I mean, she left her children with Justin all the time and would just go party. He would text me about that and call me about it crying. And so I didn't really feel comfortable with Lila being there. I still never denied his time with her, but it was uncomfortable. And then the following girlfriend, Sabra, she would smoke in the car with Lila in the car. And whenever I bring these concerns up to Justin, they would be dismissed. So that was also concerning. As far as Danny goes, me and Danny haven't really had any issues. So.
And Danny is
his wife currently.
So do you tell Lila that you love her?
All the time. That's her favorite phrase is I love you.
And how does she respond?
I love you too. You're my favorite mom. If I could pick, if mothers were flowers, I would still pick you. That's her favorite phrase right now.
What? That doesn't sound like a thing a kid would say at all. Favorite phrase? How would that fit in to your life? That is so weird. If I could pick mothers or flowers, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt that she said mothers or flowers. But if she said mothers or fathers, that's terrible. That's even worse. I didn't add anything, Vicky. Yeah, I'm using, this is all the same program we've been using since the beginning. And yeah, how many moms does she have? The stripper mom, I guess. I don't know.
And how do you express your affection towards all of your children?
We are a very affectionate family, so lots of cuddles. Sometimes we'll build forts in the living room, like drag a mattress out and watch movies and just cuddle and just hang out. We like to be close to each other.
Specifically, how do you express your affections towards Lila?
Lila is probably my most affectionate child. She always wants to be touching you, hugging you, holding your hand, giving you kisses, and I'm the same way, so I return that affection to her.
Has the pandemic affected this?
No, I mean, other than working the COVID unit, which was...
Mr. Weed,
Mr.
Weed, you need to keep your voice up. I did not hear the question.
Oh, I
Obviously, the
apologize.
client did.
Yeah, I apologize. I asked if the pandemic had affected her relationship with her child.
Thank you.
I mean, just being able to come home and spend time with them was definitely difficult when I was working the COVID unit, but since I've been off that unit now.
And how does she express her affections towards your husband, Christopher Murphy?
Lila's probably honestly closer to my husband than she is to me. They're best friends. He's taken her to daddy-daughter dances. They go on dates. They're very, like, they just like to be together. They have a lot of the same interests. My husband's in school for photography, and Lila is like an amazing photographer. She got a camera for Christmas this year. So they spend a lot of time together as well.
Has Justin ever taken your child to daddy-daughter dances?
No, he is not.
What interests do you share with Lila?
I also used to do photography when Justin and I were married, actually. So me and Lila like to do photography together. We like to take walks and take pictures of flowers. She's into like gymnastics. She's in a dance class right now, so I take her to those as well. Makeup, hair, movies. Trying to stay away from the boys at this point, that kind of stuff.
Do you have a bedroom routine with your children?
Yes, I do.
What is specifically, what does your bedtime routine look for Lila?
So typically she goes to bed, or starts getting ready for bed around 8 o'clock. We'll go in the bathroom, brush our teeth, wash our face. And then usually we'll grab a snack before we brush our teeth. Then we'll brush our teeth, wash our face. And then usually I'll go upstairs to her room and read a book together. So right now we started the Laura Ingalls Wilder Little House on the Prairie series. So I'll usually read that to all the girls if they're up for it.
Do the children have homework?
Yes, they do. So our schedule right now for school is we start the morning with a Bible study for about an hour. And typically my husband does that because he used to be youth pastor and that's just kind of his wheelhouse. And so we'll do a Bible study in the morning and then
For an hour every day?
each subject we have broken up into 1 hour blocks. So language arts, math, we combine history and biology because those are like the classes they kind of
combine history, biology, but we do an hour a day of religion.
And then after their blocks of classes, whatever they don't get done within that hour is their homework after school's over. Like after they complete an hour of every single subject, whatever is left over is their homework.
Also, hold on a second. I thought that like some of the homeschooling parents that I've seen, they are boasting about being finished school in like 2 or 3 hours. the whole like extra fucking good part about homeschooling is that you get to plow through things because you're being able to focus with that child. So I'm now confused. How many hours a day are you schooling these children? She's lying. Yeah, she is lying. Or the kids are doing it on their own and they're just sort of being, because the good parents that I know, they're not, sorry, I should rephrase that. The people that I know that excelled at homeschooling their children, because here's the thing, there is like a good small subset of people that probably do excel at homeschooling their children. And those people were never boasting about how many hours they did of something. That was never the plan. It was always like, you know, they would incorporate like 4 or 5 different things into one activity and do the math and the science and the outdoor activity and the physical activity and sort of be able to do it. Like, those are the people that I think were doing the best they could. I never thought of homeschool as like kids that sat at home and spent the same amount of time in school that we did. But I'm a little concerned here. It's sad. Because I was really, really like, I was just, part of me was just like, oh, well, maybe they just, you know, sort of diddle away the day or whatever, but it's a bad choice of words. Got to be careful, especially when we're talking about a youth pastor.
And how you had stated earlier, how is, but I'll refresh. I guess I'll move back. How is Lila doing at school?
She's doing great. I mean, she's very intelligent. She's always been very intelligent. She's doing 4th grade. She's at the end of her 4th grade math workbook, and she's in 3rd grade. So she's about to move into 5th grade before the school year is even up. She's reading at a 6th to 7th grade level. She loves to write poetry. She's very into language arts, science. She really loves the Bible study aspect of it. She wants to be a worship pastor when she grows up. So I mean, she's doing really well.
So Lila has shown interest in religious services.
Yes, she has.
Besides wanting to be youth pastor, a worship pastor.
Worship pastor. Yes.
What other things has she shown to have an interest in that?
In the religious services?
Yes.
She likes to write like inspirational messages about God. Last summer, she wrote out this big long speech about God, and she printed a bunch of them out and handed them out around the neighborhood. She is very involved in her youth group. They actually just asked her if she would want.
Is that called proselytizing? Proselytizing? What is the word? What's the word? What is the word? What is the word? What is the word? You know what I'm talking about. Prostelizing, I think. Whatever the word means when you talk about God to people. Proselytizing. Yeah, see, I think it's this one. I can't say it. I know it. But this is weird. Definitely not this one, Colette. Definitely not this one. Also, are you telling me they have free access to a fucking printer? Humble brag. Humble brag. Printing willy-nilly. Proselytime. Proselytime? Really? Oh, proselytize. Oh, proselytize. Oh, so isn't that weird that my brain pretty much knew how to like spell it and sort of knew the word, but and knew the definition, because I think I'm correct on what the definition would be. Like it means what she was doing, sort of. I mean, I don't think the kid needs a period room, but maybe that's why they want to separate her out. She's like printing out God poems and I don't know. I feel bad. Children do what they think people want them to do. You have to understand that. Oh, interesting. Do you guys see that? Oh. Very interesting. That was a big one. Early. But then you guys just saw that where we had 2 of me, right? For a moment. Fuck. Okay, we gotta. I don't know where we were. We're definitely on this to be expected. Sean, that's hilarious. Because normally it creed frames every time I add a video for us to watch, but I usually do that before we start. So I was expecting that one. That's a normal creed frame. Were my eyes closed in a terrible way? Did I look ugly? Probably. Anyways, let's find out. We were talking about wait, I know MB wrote it. And see, that's funny. I can't remember how to say it properly, but I still know the word. Okay, no, Paisley, keep going. Gotta go forward, not back. Forward, not backwards. Forward.
Get on there. Either I know.
Not backwards.
Okay.
Book, and she's in 3rd grade, so she's about to move into 5th grade before the school year is even up.
Okay, here we
she's
go.
reading
Yes.
at a 6th to 7th grade level. She loves to write poetry. She's very into language arts, science. She really loves the Bible study aspect of it. She wants to be a worship pastor when she grows up. So I mean, she's doing really well.
So Lila has shown interest in religious services.
Yes, she has.
Besides wanting to be youth pastor, to have an interest.
And religious services?
Yes.
She likes to write like inspirational messages about God. Last summer, she wrote out this big long speech about God, and she printed a bunch of them out and handed them out around the neighborhood. She is very involved in her youth group. They actually just asked her if she would want to start helping teach in the little kids, like in the toddlers group where my younger 2 are. She's very outspoken about her faith, and like I don't force her to be that way. Honestly, none of my other kids are as outspoken as she is. That's just who she is. She loves it.
So would you say you raised Lila? Well, let me take that, strike that. Do you have any concerns regarding the father, in this case, Justin, with regards to Lila's religion or creed?
Yes. Justin and his wife are both atheists. They both told me this. It's not.
And here we go. This is why, because this probably is the only one she's going to win on. Hi, Officer Pork Chop. I think that MB, the reason now becomes obvious. They're atheists. It's rare to meet a little girl of 8 or 9 years old that is so interested in religion, but when daddy doesn't care about religion, I guess that's the one vein the lawyer went on. But I'm back. It works now, right? I hope so. Anyway.
Secret or surprise. And while I support Lila and whatever she chooses religion, I definitely don't want to pressure her into anything. I am concerned because she seems afraid to share this with her dad. I've heard him outright discourage her from practicing her faith. And it's such a big part of her that I worry about how that's going to affect her with her walk with Jesus. I mean, coming from a Christian point of view, but also as a person, like not having your father support the things that you do. Like, it's not hurting anybody. She's not hurting anybody. If anything, it's the opposite. She's loving people. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm concerned that this could, I mean, it could be detrimental to her. She loves it. That's who she is.
So would you say that this love that you say, is it more than just a hobby?
Yeah, I mean, it's her life. She got a guitar for Christmas. She's been writing worship songs pretty much every single day since Christmas.
Would that not concern you?
She's been very outspoken about her faith and into church since she was little. I mean, since she was 3.
So would you say that's part of her identity?
I would, absolutely.
Also, wouldn't you say that you're giving her, I think it's almost even more accurate to say that she's like school, because she's in a religious school program. So it sounds to me more like she really, again, wants to please. When I got cut off before, I was saying children like to please people. They like to be praised for their work. They like to do a good job, and they learn what buttons to press for adults in a good way. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's disingenuous to think that when you expose a child to daily Bible study, her parents are involved deeply in part of that church, and then she goes to school in a religious context, that I imagine that it's just her natural way of being, to want to please. I have a funny feeling she knows what to say to make her mom feel better. You're my favorite mom. Like, again.
So do you cook for your children?
I do.
What is Lila's favorite food?
For breakfast, she likes to have yogurt with fruit in it. And then her favorite, like, of all time meal is cheesy chicken, broccoli, and rice.
Do you take Lila to medical and dental appointments?
I do. Again, COVID's made it kind of hard.
Sorry, cheesy chicken, broccoli, and rice sounds fucking good. I'm going to give that one to Lila. That's an absolute win for Lila, telling us what she wants for dinner or had for dinner. Cheesy chicken, broccoli, and rice. That sounds delicious. Doesn't it? I just don't like exactly, why is this being weaponized? I'm concerned and a little bit hungry.
This last year, and then not having the insurance card, but yeah.
What do you mean not having the insurance card?
So we just got Justin's insurance card again in January. So basically I've been paying out of pocket or taking her to urgent care, the emergency room, where we then get billed for stuff because we haven't been able to take her to a regular like pediatrician or physician. Like a typical wellness checkup is coming out of our pockets because we haven't had his insurance card.
So how has these appointments been handled since your divorce?
I take her to all of her appointments. He's taken her to the eye doctor once that I know of. His aunt is a nurse practitioner. So like, I know Lila had a UTI when she was in Ohio, and he had his aunt prescribe her something. But other than that, I took her to get a flu shot too. But other than that, I take care of them.
So when's the last time you took her to the dentist?
She just saw the dentist in January. She was scheduled for December, but it got pushed because of COVID, and we had a little bit of a scare in our house regarding COVID. So she went in January, and then she had a cleaning in 2019, but I couldn't really get her in 2020.
Did the pandemic affect your ability to have her see the dentist?
Yeah, I mean, appointments were 6 months out, if that.
Now, you had mentioned the eye doctor. Does she go to an eye doctor?
I took her to an eye doctor in Marshall. The eye doctor that I took her to said she had a slight astigmatism and that she could wear glasses if she felt like her eyes were strained. Apparently, when Justin took her to the doctor, they said she needed to wear them all the time, which she has been. But she's never complained of eye pain to me whatsoever, ever, or headaches or anything. So I'm not even sure what prompted the visit to the eye doctor.
Is Lila on any medications on a consistent basis?
She just takes gummy vitamins.
Is let's see. Is Lila in therapy?
No, she's not.
Do you think she would benefit from counseling?
I absolutely think she'd benefit from counseling. Like I said, I think she just deals with a lot of, I don't want to say abandonment because I'm not a therapist. I can't diagnose her. But I think she deals with a lot of lack of attachment issues with her dad. And then, I mean, having a blended family in general is a stressful thing for anybody, much less a 9-year-old girl, not just on our end, but also on her dad's end, like with a new marriage and new step siblings there and feeling like she's left out. Like, I think she would absolutely benefit from therapy.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
I have not.
Do you believe that you are a morally fit person to take care of and nurture Lila?
I do.
What about your former spouse, Justin Smith?
I think Justin loves Lila very much. I think he is the fun parent. I think he takes her on all kinds of adventures. She talks about the Kalahari all the time. I think that he ultimately would never want anything for her that would hurt her. But I don't think that he can provide the full-time care that I've been providing to her since our divorce, even since before our divorce, but that I do. I'm with her all the time.
Do you think that Lila is old enough or mature enough to express an opinion regarding a preference as to where she would like to live?
I do.
Why?
She's very advanced, like I said. I mean, educationally, yes, but she's very mature.
If she's 8 or 9 years old, I worry about that when one parent is into the judge talking to them. They're the custodial parent. They have unlimited access to fucking relate everything and interpret it the way they want it to be said. I worry a lot. Older children, it's obvious that they should have a say, but when you're at this age, this is a very, very touchy subject, and I'm getting a bad vibe from mom. It would be totally different to me if she wasn't like pushing certain angles here, but I don't like that thought. And of course it's a legend, and of course it's in my opinion, but
she understands things that I don't even understand. She understands people's emotions. She gets people to open up and talk to her. She's literally, I mean, I love all of my kids. Lila is my pride and joy, and she's so smart. And I mean, yeah, I think she's mature enough.
Can you name 2 or 3 positive attributes of your former spouse and father of this child, Justin, that he brings to parenting Lila?
Again, I think he loves her very much. I mean, she was his first child. I know he would do anything for her. He's very fun. He takes her to do fun things. And again, I think he wants what's best for her. I don't think that he would ever want anything that would hurt her. I just don't think he knows her well enough to make those decisions by himself.
Do you help foster and encourage Lila to have a good relationship with her father?
I do. I tell her every day to call him or text him. Actually, during the pandemic, when Justin before we came to court, my husband had actually arranged every Wednesday for Justin to FaceTime Lila, like after he got out of work or before he went to work. I'm not sure exactly what his work schedule was at that point.
happy birthday. Was it your birthday today? Happy birthday. 55 is awesome. Jesus Christ. This lady is fucking me up. I just was thinking, guys, like, does anybody have plans tonight? Anybody got a date tonight that they have to get going for? Or are we all sort of buckled in for a nice long one? Did you get anything delicious for your birthday dinner, Officer Pork Chop?
Changed jobs a couple times, but I think it was like 6 to 7. Like Lila would have, or my husband would have Lila go upstairs, sit in a room by herself with nobody else, so she could give Justin her undivided attention for an hour. And he did that for a little while, but again, I mean, it just wasn't consistent. But we absolutely encourage her to talk to Justin and Danny and her grandma in Georgia as much as she possibly wants, as much as she wants to and can.
Do you ever speak negatively about Lila's father in front of her?
We don't talk about the other parents in front of the kids at all, unless it's like making arrangements to meet or pick up or what they want to bring. So no.
Have you ever became aware that Justin or someone in his house is speaking negatively about you?
I have been made aware that Justin's wife may be talking badly about me regarding the custody case in front of our child. Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that. It appears to me that that would be hearsay. Unless you can lay some kind of a foundation about how she became aware of something that was said.
Without a foundation, certainly I agree with you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You can strike that from the record, Your Honor. I'll move on to the next question. Do you believe that your former spouse has helped facilitate the relationship between you and your child?
I think that while she's there, I mean, I kind of encourage her to spend time with her dad. Like, I don't really call her or text her often when she's there for weekends because she's there for such a short period of time. I just don't really think Justin has her consistently enough to like foster any kind of relationship with us because she's with us pretty much all the time.
So, have there been, let's see, upon questioning from opposing counsel, he had spoke to you about domestic violence. Did that instance involve? Strike that.
Okay, so this is the redirect that he was not prepared for. It seems from the original like part, right? Like when he's not alluding that there was domestic violence with her, Justin. She's saying that they've alleged that there's domestic violence in her current household. And she herself admits to being dragged behind a vehicle, accidentally, albeit, by her husband while she was blackout drunk, apparently. Like, those are her words. I don't know how you're gonna, I don't know if I would even talk about it again. It's so remote in the testimony at this point. I think I might just move on from it. I don't know.
Have you ever been exposed to any domestic abuse by your former spouse, Justin?
Not following our divorce, no. Not after our divorce.
Have the children ever been exposed to domestic abuse by your former spouse, Justin?
Not after the divorce, no.
Have the children been exposed to any domestic abuse by your current spouse?
No.
Christopher. Okay. You had mentioned an incident that involved a car, and that it involved an open door. How were you dragged?
So I had a hold of the back door handle of the car, and my husband, it was on the back side, on the passenger side. He was driving, obviously. And so when he pulled out of the driveway, I wasn't like hugging the car or anything. I just had a hold of the door. He drove down the road and I just kind of jumped off, fell off the car. I wasn't like being drugged in an open door or like speeding down the road. I just kind of let go of the car and fell off into the grass on the side of the road.
So you weren't, the door wasn't closed on you in any way?
No, not at all.
Was the door open or closed?
It was closed. The door was locked. I was holding on to the door handle.
And you said it was on the passenger's backside?
Correct.
So would that be harder for him to see?
Yeah. We have a HHR and like there's a bunch of blind spots.
Wait, how can she remember this part, but she can't remember what the argument was about? Remember when they asked her why they were arguing, and she said she couldn't remember? Why can she remember this so specifically?
That's like the worst part. To be honest with you.
Your vehicle is, what is it?
It's an HHR. It's got like massive blind spots. So
Is it actually a Hummer? What's an HHR? Hold on, we got to look at that up. A Chevrolet HHR, retro-styled, high-roofed, 5-door, 5-passenger, front-wheel drive. All right. That's not that big at all. It looks like a PT Cruiser's generic brother. Yeah, okay.
it's not crazy to me that he wouldn't have been able to see me.
How has Justin's relationship been with your husband Christopher?
Honestly, they've gotten along great. For a while there, Justin and my husband Chris were the ones that communicated. Even now, I mean, they're the ones that communicate. But like for a while there, they were like talking like all the time, like talking about going golfing, like friends, like not like my ex-husband. Like I honestly caused a little bit of an issue for a while because I was kind of uncomfortable with it, but they've gotten along great.
And how long have you been married to your husband?
It'll be 7 years this year.
So how does Justin speak about Christopher?
To me, he's never said anything bad about him. I mean, he's been full of praise and thanks and grateful that he's there for Lila and grateful that he's in her life. He's never said anything negatively to me or to Lila that I know of.
Do you think that Justin has helped to foster a relationship between Christopher and Lila?
Again, I don't think that I don't feel like he talks about that stuff while they're together because it's such a short period of time that I don't think that really comes up often.
How is your relationship between you and your husband now?
Honestly, 2020 was, out of 7 years of marriage, 2020 is probably the worst year I've ever had in my entire life. And I don't ever want to diminish the fact that like mistakes were made. But right now we're currently in the best position we've ever been in. We're talking about planning a wedding post-COVID. We're on a honeymoon. We want to take the kids to Disney World for Christmas if COVID died down a little bit. We're honestly in the best place we've ever been in.
So you said you were talking about marriage. You are married.
We are married. We just didn't have a wedding. We went to the courthouse.
So you want to have
a ceremony, yeah.
Okay. What have you done to help grow your relationship with your husband?
So we started doing counseling with our church in March of 2020. And then in November of 2020, well, December, I guess, the end of November after this happened, we started meeting with our pastor and his wife on top of the marriage counseling from our church. And then we started seeing a licensed marriage counselor in February virtually.
So virtually, that was online?
Yes.
And do you believe this pandemic has played into your decision making?
I mean, yeah, honestly, this is hard to admit, but like this year has been so terrible for so many reasons. And I found myself returning to drinking, which I promised myself I would never do because I watched my dad kill himself with alcohol. I watched my uncle kill himself with alcohol. And I know in my heart and in my head that it wasn't a good idea. But I found myself really turning to alcohol to relax myself and to sleep. And clearly alcohol impaired my judgment, and it has in more ways than one. And I don't want to blame the pandemic entirely because the pandemic doesn't cause alcoholism, but it definitely didn't help me stop drinking or not drink.
Did you seek any individual help?
The counselor that we're seeing online meets with us also individually. And then I started going to AA meetings.
What is AA?
Alcoholics Anonymous.
And how often do you go to Alcoholics Anonymous?
Typically, I try to go every day, but at least 5 days a week. I do a virtual Zoom AA meeting.
And where do you do that through?
Well, so if you get online, there's like the big book, and
Very interesting. I would not have guessed that. Didn't she go from like not really drinking that much? She never talked about drinking, just that one incident, and now she's in AA 5 days a week. Does she do that while Justin does, or the other guy does the Bible study with the kids?
it gives you all of the meetings where you just contact the secretary and they'll give you the passcode. But the one that I attend like regularly every single week is one young adults group out of like California.
And have you forged any relationships out of that?
Yeah, I actually found my sponsor through that.
And where does your sponsor live?
She lives in California.
And how does she help you?
Well, since I typically am working night shifts, like on my doubles, I'm able to talk to her because she's 4 hours behind, so the time just works better. But she helps me identify my triggers. She's there when I feel like I want to drink, and she helps talk me out of it. She's helped me work through the steps, apologizing to people, admitting that I'm an alcoholic. Pretty much anything that I need. She's like a big sister to me.
And how has Alcoholics Anonymous helped you?
It's helped me identify the
Admitting she's an alcoholic. Did I miss something? She never said this before in the testimony, did she? Did I miss that part?
triggers that I feel when I want to drink. It's helped me see that not only is drinking hurting myself, but it's hurting my family. And it's helped me find different outlets, different ways to deal with those feelings than turning to alcohol, because I don't want to be my dad. I don't want to be my uncle. I don't want to beat my kids without my mom because of bad decisions like that.
So do you believe that you will always need Alcoholics Anonymous?
I mean, yeah, the first thing they teach you is that once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. It doesn't go away. I mean, you can choose to not drink, but that doesn't make you not an alcoholic. It's still going to be something that you struggle with for the rest of your life.
A lawyer down there is like, I didn't even bring this shit up on adverse direct.
Life. And so, I mean, I've seen that this is working for me. So I definitely think that I'll be doing this forever.
Do you think that Justin, the father here, is an alcoholic?
I think that he has struggled with alcohol. Yes, I can't label him an alcoholic. Only he can label himself.
Have you ever been intimidated by Justin, the father here, in any way?
Not since our divorce, but prior to that, yes.
So, have you sought any other kind of counseling?
So we just I meet with my pastor's wife individually, and then with my church marriage counselor individually, and then also with our licensed marriage counselor individually.
And the happenstance that was brought about, was that in November?
Yes, it was.
And how often did you drink at that point?
Pretty much whenever I had a day off. That's how I got to sleep. It's how I didn't think about stuff. It's how I just relaxed and calmed down and dealt with everything that was.
Is this a good idea? They didn't talk about this at all on the direct. I don't know. I feel like this is really odd. She didn't vein it through her whole testimony. They should have opened with this, because this is really like concerning. How is all her judgment so perfect on all the rest of the stuff? How's she homeschooling kids drunk?
When's the last time you've had a drink?
That was the last time I've had a drink. It was November 21st of 2020, and I will not. I don't even want to touch this stuff. I don't want to see it.
So it's had an effect on your life.
Yeah.
Do you think you're a better person today than you were then?
I mean, I don't think I'm perfect. I think I'm always going to be growing and changing and evolving, but I can clearly see it, and my husband can clearly see it. My friends and family can clearly see the difference in me now versus when I was drinking.
That's all you're.
Mr. Navarre, more questions. Obviously, he covered a lot more territory than you did on your examination. You have every right to cross-examine her on those issues.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mrs. Murphy, so it's your testimony that the evening that you were injured, it was November 21st of 2020?
Correct.
And do you know when you posted the things that you posted online, the photographs?
It was right after.
the
It was right after. It was right after it happened.
And what time did it happen?
I honestly don't remember. I don't think it was that late, to be honest with you. We went to a hot tub a little bit earlier in the evening, but I don't remember exactly what time it was at.
Maybe I'm just weird, but I read everything always. It's some people say it's weird, but like I read all the signs every time I'm in a hot tub. It specifically has said on every single hot tub that I've ever been in, and I guess public hot tubs or at any pool or any hotel even, they all legitimately outright say, do not drink alcohol. It can, like, it literally has a warning about alcohol on every hot tub I've ever been in. Not a private hot tub, mind you, but it just seems naive and stupid to me to say that you didn't know. Like, ma'am, you just admitted that you're an alcoholic. Why bother saying that you didn't know hot tubs made you more drunk? You know what I mean? Like, that just sounds like minimizing to me. Maybe that you don't really believe that you have as big a problem as you do.
Did you post a statement that said Chris drug me down the road on the car and I'm pretty beat up?
I did.
Your Honor, objection asked and answered.
It has been asked and answered. She admitted she posted it.
All right. Did you also post in that same posting a statement that said, please don't stay in abusive relationships?
Not that I recall. I was drunk when I posted this, honestly. I mean, it was in November.
Did you also
I'm
post
drunk all of
photographs?
November. It was in November. I was drunk. Ma'am, what?
Of your the bruising on your legs?
I did, yes. It wasn't bruising. That was from the gravel on the ground. It wasn't bruising.
Abrasions then on your legs that were visible in the photographs that you posted?
Correct.
And so you testified earlier that these postings that were made the same day as the incident that occurred?
That I recall, yes. I mean, it's all very blurry.
Was it blurry when you went to Henry Ford Allegiance Health to the ER?
Honestly, I don't remember. It might have been midnight. It might have been, I honestly can't recall. I could find out. I'm sure I could call and find out when it was, but I really, truly do not remember.
Didn't you previously testify that you went the next day?
I said I didn't remember. I don't remember saying that.
Did you post a photograph of you on crutches with a brace and an air cast?
That was the following day.
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
I think it's a fair question.
That was the following day, yes, that I posted that picture.
Were you intoxicated at that point or not?
No.
And And on that photograph, did it contain language that said the truth will always be the truth, even if no one believes it?
That's a quote, but yes.
Okay.
I have lots of quotes like that on my pictures. Sorry.
Have there been any other incidences between you and your husband, Chris, that have involved domestic violence?
No, I mean, we've argued, but nothing physically, no.
Have you ever transported your daughter Lila from her dad's house all the way back to your house?
No, my husband has, but I have not.
Have you refused to respond to text messages from Justin to you regarding arrangements for him to exercise parenting time with Lila?
No, typically if I don't respond, I'm at work and I'll give him a call later, or my husband will respond to him.
And so what are your work days then?
Like I said, I usually work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I usually work doubles on the days that Lila is supposed to be with Justin. So I work 16-hour shifts those days. And then on the weeks that she's here, I usually try to work an overnight shift or a couple overnight shifts during the week. And then I space those out so I can stay up during the day and sleep at night. So I'm still awake for school.
So have you refused to respond to him if he sends you a text on Thursday regarding him exercising his weekend parenting time?
I mean, the only time I never refuse to respond. I may be at work or I may be sleeping, and then typically I'll either call him or my husband will text him.
So if it's earlier in the week, you're not working, correct?
It depends on what week it is. And my schedule has just changed recently over the past couple of months. So prior to that, I was working on a COVID unit, 12-hour shifts.
So is your husband the one that's primarily working with Lila as it relates to her being schooled?
No, I am.
And so have you communicated with Mr. Smith, with Justin about her education and about her schooling?
Well, by there you mean Lila. Yes, I've talked to him on the phone. I've texted him. Prior to homeschooling, I've invited him multiple times to participate in parent-teacher conferences via phone or Zoom, and he's never shown any interest. Or
Parent-teacher conferences with who? You? As the teacher? What? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, maybe there was one text message exchange where he said education is important, but that's it. That's like really the only communication he's cared to have regarding her education. I've definitely reached out to him and explained to him what's going on, but he hasn't really been interested.
Again, he's the moving party here.
Your testimony is that she's at a 4th grade level for math and 6th or 7th grade level in some other subject. What subjects is she at 6th or 7th grade level?
Reading and language arts.
And what is the curriculum that she's taking? What are her subjects that she's studying currently?
She's doing math. She's doing history and biology. Right now she's doing ancient civilizations for history. For biology right now, they're learning about the body system. I think they're working on the urinary system right now. They just finished lungs. She's doing language arts, which is like writing, that kind of stuff. Reading, which is reading, obviously. She's also doing Bible study. And then the Gather Round program that we use as well, in addition to that, that allows them to focus on like a specific subject. So like we've done United States government, we've done artists, we've done Africa, we've done South America, North American birds, but each of those individual subjects also have like, they tie it into history, they tie it into language arts, they tie it into reading.
How many hours?
Oh, I'm very concerned about the Africa module. I am exceptionally concerned about the Africa module that these children have been taught. Oh, Lord Jesus. Like, think about that. Africa, its own module. North American birds, also its own module. What? What? I'm so concerned. Oh my God.
What day is she in school?
She usually wakes up, they usually wake up around 7:30 and have breakfast. And then again, we block everything off in an hour. Anything past those hours for their subjects is what they have for homework. So it just depends on how much they get done. Typically, Lila works ahead. I mean, she's almost in a 5th grade math workbook at the end of 3rd grade.
How many hours a day is she in school?
It just depends. It varies anywhere from, let's see, Bible study, math, language arts, reading, history, and science. So anywhere from 5 hours on.
First of all, the fact that you had to use your fingers to count that is a little disconcerting. Secondly, that's too long for homeschool. To be working through notebooks? Are you fucking kidding me? Could you imagine? Oh, what terrible, terrible experience.
What time would school typically get out for her?
So 5 hours from around 8, like 1 usually, noon to 1. It just depends. Sometimes we double up lessons. Like if she's going to Justin's house for the weekend, we'll double up on lessons on Thursday. That way she can leave earlier on Friday.
So we give her 10 hours of solid school. Are these people fucking stupid? This is not what homeschool is meant to be, you dumbasses. You're supposed to be doing consolidating, being better. Are you fucking... This is terrible. This is terrible. Oh my God. She's going to be a nurse, Courtney. Oh my God. Like, if you're wanting your kids to be in instruction period for 5 hours a day, you should send them to school. That is not what homeschooling is for. Can you imagine how confused this poor child is, who's obviously quite bright? She's blurring through these notebooks, probably yearning for a real fucking teacher, writing letters about things and posting them in her neighborhood. Like, I mean, I'm not getting a very like homeschooly nice vibe. Like, we make breakfast together in the morning, which covers some of our science and nutrition and all this kind of stuff. Like, no, I don't know. They wake up at 7:30. They're in school by 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. When do they eat? They're in school straight that amount of time. When's recess? This is terrible. Put them in the school for at least they get mandated breaks.
And spend more time with him.
Do you send any of that schoolwork with her when she goes to her dad's?
She was supposed to bring her math book last time she came, but she didn't. And then she forgot it in the car, or forgot it at the house when we left to drive.
She's so stupid. She forgot her fucking book. Guess what, Mom? She's a kid. Remember the book yourself.
to meet him. But no, I mean, he has no interest, really, truly. I mean, I know for a while his wife was printing out worksheets that she was doing there, but typically it's the weekend.
These people always have access to printers. What is going on with these printing people? People printing worksheets at home? Actually, oh, that just brought back a bit of a memory. I did print worksheets out when my daughter was a little bit younger, but it wasn't for school. It's for absolutely to keep her occupado so I could do my own shit for a little minute.
I mean, she doesn't have school on the weekends. Like I said, we usually double up on Thursday if she's going there Friday so that she can spend time with him since it's been so inconsistent.
That's so weird. What a sneaky, devious way to make her not want to spend time with her dad. Well, whenever you go to your dad, sweetheart, remember that you have to double up on school for Thursdays because Friday's going to be sent traveling to see your father because he is far away. Anyways, don't worry. We loved to do that. It's just double up of school. No problem.
I have no further questions, Mr. Runner.
And do you have any further questions, Mr. Weed?
None at this time, Your Honor, no.
Okay, Mr. Navarre, is your next witness.
I would call Danny Smith, Your Honor.
Okay. Can you bring her to the
New
computer,
wife alert,
please?
new
Yes, I
wife
can.
alert, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see Justin upgrade. So far, making it very easy for him to have upgraded. Ma'am, you're a bit of a bitch, allegedly. So I'm going to say yes. Oh, here we go now.
Hello.
To be fair, we're not getting her face. She's hiding it via mask and a distance. And I paused it, unfortunately, for Danny here. But no, this is not the stripper. That was Jennifer. That was the early on Jennifer. This is Danny, the wife.
Good morning. Would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please, you put your hand down. State your full name, please.
Danielle Renee Smith.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Navarre.
Thank you. May I refer to you as Danny?
Yes, that is what I go by.
Your Honor, if I can at this time, can I just ensure that Justin is no longer in the room?
Sorry, buds, you don't get to do that because Justin is party to this lawsuit and he gets to stay in as an exception to the rule of sequestration. Nice try, though. I'm not even a lawyer, and I know that, dumbass. Come on now. Why would you even ask that? That's so stupid to me. Why would you even ask? I know that, and I'm not a lawyer. That's so obviously not going to be allowed. His lawyer's like, but I guess they're both trying like weird, like insert football reference here when you're sort of late in the game and you need to make a weird play that nobody normally does and sort of might work once in a while, just while everyone's sort of shell-shocked about it. You know what I mean?
He can be in the room. He has every right to be in the room. He's a party.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Obviously, I don't want him doing any coaching for answers, but he's entitled to hear this.
Yeah. Danny, would you just have your husband come back in so he can be present?
Yeah, I'll grab him.
Thank you.
Oh, see, you're so dumb, Michael Weed. You're so stupid. Okay? Because if you hadn't said anything, dumbass Justin was outside. Now, now that you mentioned it, here we go. He's coming back in. You raise the judge's hackles with that. That's just a like due process error. That would not be good. It's just so dumb. Why would he seems thrown off? He just seems very thrown off here. Weird move. Fail.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Justin, I just wanted to advise you that you can be present. You're party to this. You can hear what your wife is going to testify to, but you can't coax her or coach her as to what she's saying or not saying. Okay. So
Okay,
you can just
absolutely.
sit and listen and observe.
Absolutely.
So Danny, how long have you and Justin been together?
About 2 years.
And how long have you been married?
We got married in November of 2020. So
Are we all just gonna pretend that mom's meltdown in November of 2020 had nothing to do with this? Oh jeez. It's so obvious to me. It's like oh jeez.
6 months.
And do you have children from a prior relationship?
I do, yes. A 7-year-old daughter named Layla and a 3-year-old daughter named Nora.
Oh, there's another Layla? That's a problem. Isn't the other one called Layla too? Or is it Lila? Is it Layla? I think it's Layla. Very common name. I recommend that you check out the vital statistics information in your area when you're having children, because you might find it awkward down the line.
And how would you describe your relationship with Justin?
We have a very loving relationship. We see eye to eye on most issues. We parent very similarly with a lot of compassion and understanding. We have a very solid relationship. We very rarely argue.
And where are you employed?
St. Mary's City Schools. I teach first grade.
And how long have you been?
Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Of all the jobs I was expecting. Wait, and didn't she say some saint something? Is that a Catholic school? Oh my.
A teacher.
This is my 8th school year.
And where did you attend college or university?
Wright State University, the Lake Campus here in Salina, where we live.
And do you hold any degrees?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's of education in early childhood education.
And do you have any certifications?
I have a reading endorsement and a 4th and 5th grade generalist endorsement, which certifies me to teach like title reading or up to 5th grade.
And have you worked with your stepdaughter, Lila, regarding her education?
Yes, when school was shut down in March of last year, she was here for some time, and then
Objection, Your Honor, this asks for hearsay.
I don't think it does. She's testifying to her personal involvement in Lila's schooling when she was there. How was that hearsay?
I think I heard, well, my internet kind of glitched. Can I just hear that question one more time? I apologize.
No problem. Could you ask the question again, Mr. Navarre?
I will, Your Honor. Have you had an opportunity to observe Lila as it relates to her education when she's in your presence?
A little bit. Last March when school shut down, she was here for some time. And then in November, my husband's grandmother passed away around Thanksgiving time, and she was with us then, and we did a little bit here.
For how long of a period of time was it that she was present in March of last year when school shut down?
I think about 2 weeks.
And did she bring any homework with her?
She did not. We were told that she didn't have anything.
Okay. So did you do anything as far as her schoolwork? Did you go online, or did you provide her with anything
Yes,
to
I did.
assist her?
Yeah.
Pardon?
My daughter was working. I'm sorry, what?
What did you do?
Okay, I found because at that point in time she was in second grade. I found second grade material that went along with the state standards for the state of Ohio. I know that they're not identical to Michigan, but both were at one point Common Core states, so they are similar. And I figured we were doing stuff with my daughter, so anything to keep her going would be beneficial. So we did practice reading, language arts, math.
And what did you observe as it relates to her proficiency in math?
From my observations, Lila does not do well in math. She struggles with addition. She was struggling with elapsed time, some of the multiplication stuff. It's just not automatic that to where it should be at this point in time. And we've noticed several other things.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm just at this point. She hasn't been deemed an expert. Now she's speaking as if she is testifying as being an expert of being able to assess where this child is currently with her academic performance.
I think adequate foundation was laid for her training and experience as a teacher. I'm going to allow it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, I am certified teacher for fifths.
And so
Don't add, lady. Don't add. You already got it. You don't shake your fucking head. Don't add about it. The judge already is on your side. Just fucking answer the questions. All right? Seriously. Lawyers can turn on you in a second.
Her observation as it relates to her proficiency in math.
She really struggled with elapsed time. And I know that we spent a lot of extra time on like 2-digit addition and things like that should have been a little more automatic at that point in time because it was designed to be review. It wasn't something that she was learning that was new. It was just review according to the Ohio state standards.
And as it relates to the time in November of last year, what academic grades should she have been in or was in from an online standpoint as far as what your knowledge is?
November, she should have been in third grade.
And how many weeks was she with you in November of last year?
It was about 2. I think it may have been 10 days or so.
And did you have an opportunity then to also observe her as far as her academic proficiency?
She was not sent with much. I think she had like 5 worksheets for math and half an hour of reading and half an hour of writing with no structure for each day. for, I think it was 8 school calendar days. And mostly my husband did that, but he did tell me that she was having trouble with those things, that they weren't easy for her.
Well, what did you observe as far as her proficiency in her schoolwork in November of last year that you observed?
I only saw her reading in November. My husband did the math stuff with her. He would very much like to be involved more with her schooling. So I was at work.
Actually, she can't say what, there was a time to ask him that question. She can't speak for him.
That's sustained.
Thank you, Your Honor. So what were your observations as it relates to her proficiency in reading in November of last year?
Lila reads very well.
Would you say that she would be at a 6th or 7th grade level?
I can't speak to that. I didn't do a running record or anything as far as that goes. I know that she reads well.
How would you describe her relationship with her dad?
They're very close. She's a very loving and snuggly little girl, and he's the same way. They'll just, hey, love you, or that sort of thing. She sits in his lap all the time. If we're watching a movie, she's in between us and the other kids, and you know, with everybody, we will play games with her, take her to do things. They have a very loving relationship. She talks to him about things that upset her or confuse her. They have a very good relationship.
Does she share her interests with him?
Yes.
As it relates to extracurricular activities or art, photography?
Yes. She brought, at one point, a photography book. When she came to visit us, she has brought her camera, and we've encouraged her to take photos. And she shows us things, and she tells us about, you know, what she was doing during that point in time. So she's sharing those aspects of her life, which we are not present.
How would you describe her relationship with your other 2 daughters, Layla and Nora?
Just like sisters. Layla and Lila have very, very similar personalities. So for a while they did butt heads, but they get along very well. Nora's 3, so she's Lila's shadow. She wants Lila to help her with everything, and Lila's an amazing big sister to her.
Would you say that they have a close and loving relationship?
Absolutely.
Does she enjoy spending time with you, with her dad, with Layla, and with Nora?
Yes, absolutely. We'll play games. The girls will go hang out in Lila's room a lot, so they just get some sister time, and they play all the time. She's very good with the littler ones.
She has her own room there for any reason, not always biology related. Jesus Christ.
Does she share a room with your girls?
No, she has her own room.
And do Nora and Layla share a room?
They do share a room, but we actually have a spare bedroom. They share a room because that's what's best for them. They've never been apart, so they're not ready at this point to have their own rooms.
Does she have friends that are nearby that she spends time with as well?
She does. One of my best friend, she has a daughter that is 10, so just a little bit older than Lila, and they get along very well. So Lila will have her sleep over at our house when she's here fairly often. Also, Justin's best friend has a daughter. I think she's 10 as well. And so we'll see her too.
how does your husband discipline Lila when she needs to be disciplined?
Mostly it's just a correction. I mean, she's a very well-behaved child. And when he does see something that she's done wrong, he will pull her aside so she's not, you know, embarrassed. He'll take her in a room or whatever, and he'll talk to her and say, hey, you know, this isn't what should have happened. Next time, let's try to do this, or make sure you're doing this. We don't spank or anything like that, if that's what you're asking.
How would you characterize Elise's willingness to facilitate parenting time between Justin and Lila?
In my experience, it's been pretty well non-existent. He will text her earlier in the week asking if she can meet, and it goes days and days and days with no response. Justin will then have to go ahead and text her husband to get a response. She has stood in the way many times. She has threatened, she did not, okay, let me back up. Elise drove to meet I don't know if it was Elise or if it was Chris, drove to meet Justin in Jackson, which is half an hour from their home. And then Justin picked her up there at a Target or something. And then when it was time for Elise to get her back.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't think a foundation was laid for her to even have had the personal experience of this. She's relying upon.
Were you present for these exchanges?
I am not present for the exchanges, but I certainly am present for the communication that is happening when she's threatening my husband.
Were you the one involved in the communications? Did you have communications?
I have seen the text messages because they are text messages.
Your Honor.
She could testify to text messages from your client. Those would be admissions. They wouldn't be hearsay.
But I just would argue, of course, that is she seeing these text messages contemporaneously with the events in which she's speaking about, or did she see this text messages later and then heard the explanation through her husband?
No,
I don't think it. Hold on. It doesn't matter to me when she saw the text messages. If she's testifying to text messages authored by your client, they wouldn't be hearsay, they would be admissions. So she can testify to those. So go ahead. Actually, let's I need to take a pause here. I had things clear up in my schedule this afternoon. I can resume this afternoon at, let's say, 2 o'clock, if that's okay with everyone.
Fine with me, Your Honor.
That should work for me, Your Honor.
All right, we'll pick it back up at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think that no. I think we did quite enough for tonight. 2.5 hours. What a good time we had. We'll do the rest tomorrow. I don't know what time it'll be, so just keep an eye out. I just haven't figured out the time yet. I really appreciate each and every one of you. What a fun evening we had. Thank you again, Mark. I appreciate your gifts, and everybody for all of your support and gifts and all the good stuff. I'm excited. We have the rest of this case to watch. It's going to be another probably long one tomorrow, and then we have a separate members only that is not necessarily case related, but it's crime related. I will, my friend. Thank you so much. I love you. Appreciate you always. And have a good time at the casino. I love you guys. Oh, well, you're going to love it. We're here every single day. We just can't get enough. Remember, I love you. I'm proud of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.